That's the voice, right? So now they can hear us when we speak. So what do you want to say? I want to say hello to everybody. Hello, 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 everyone. I have someone with me today, and he is my assistant. Hello, my assistant. Would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hello, hello, everybody.
Would you like to tell them your name? What's your name?
I'm Harris.
And how old are you, Harris?
7 years old.
7 years old. My assistant is 7 years old, and it's only fair that I introduce him to all of you because, as you know, this presentation is about parents and how to involve them in the educational journey. And because all of these months that I conduct webinars, and my son constantly asks me, well, what are you doing? Who is this? Who are you talking to? I said to myself, it's important that he sees what I do, at least for the last academic webinar that I present. And so you see this question box, everybody's writing to you. They're saying, nice to see you, right? Hello, hi, assistant, they're writing to you. All right, so thank you very much for your assistance. All right, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
Well, everybody, as you can see, we started this webinar a little bit differently today. And I thought it was only fair to do so because after all of these many, many months of me presenting online and having my son have online lessons now because we're back in lockdown, I said to myself, okay, you know what? This morning when I had the morning webinar, he had a break and he was hovering next to me over here. And I said, come on in, come here. Let's say hello to everybody. Let me show you what it is that I do at the beginning. And so he asked me, he says, can I come again during your next webinar? And I said, sure, why not? Because many times what happens is during my webinars, I've told him that, you know, during your breaks, when I'm doing my 1 hour webinar, you have to go in your room, you have to stay quiet. And as a parent, right, I wasn't involving him in the process of my work, right? And I just thought it would be fair, right? So a warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Publications, myself, and my assistant, Harris. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. For those of you back again, I see many familiar names. Thank you for joining us again today. Just to do a very quick sound check, can you hear me clearly? Write to me in the question box located over there or over there in the dashboard. If you can hear me clearly, excellent. Yes, thumbs up, love it. And so, you know, we're experiencing a time of change regarding education. And this triangular relationship that we have in education has been with us forever, where we have at the top of this triangle our future global agents of change, our students. At the bottom, right, at the foundation, we have us, the educators, right, the teachers. And at the same time, we have the parents and the guardians as part of this relationship. In this online, quote unquote, quarantine learning situation that we are all in globally, we have seen that in this relationship, parents are playing a more, let's say, not only important role, but they are involving themselves a lot more than they used to with face-to-face. So before I jump into the next slide, may I ask you all a question? How are you all feeling right now? After these many, many months of development and change, professionally and personally, how are you feeling right now? Can you please write in the question box and share with me, how are you feeling? So some of us are feeling a little bit exhausted, right? A little bit overworked, a little tired, right? So let me see. All right, the numbers are going up. Many of you are tuning in now. come and find us in the question box located in the dashboard and write to us and tell me, how are you feeling right now? Okay, I miss I yearn for and I miss real communication. And that is something, Christina, that I can totally relate to, right? Because to be honest, after all of these months of conducting webinars, which I love to do, just seeing your words and not being able to see your faces or to hear your wonderful voices and actually visit your countries and to meet you in person is something that does bother me. You know, I do reflect on that often. How many of you are a little bit excited for the new year? I don't know if you are or not. How many of you are reflective, right? How many of you are somewhat anxious? The feelings that we have as teachers throughout this period can also resonate towards how parents are feeling, right? So as adults, right, we're feeling all of this. Our students as parents are feeling the same, and our students are feeling the same. Someone just wrote a bit lost, actually, right? And so in this triangular relationship, the emotions that are circulating around this relationship are all those that let's say connect towards negative emotions, right? In the emotional thermometer that I have shared with you in the other webinar with social and emotional intelligence, the emotional thermometer, we have 5 stages. The first stage is the happy stage, the feeling good stage. And yet 2, 3, 4, 5 are the stages that we are mostly thinking and feeling and experiencing right now. So maybe we need to take a step back and change our mindsets for the new year, right? In doing so, we have to keep in mind that parents are not only involving themselves more in education, but we have to figure out how to connect with them, how to communicate with them to help in this process. As Banksy says here, a lot of parents, not all, but a lot of parents will do anything for their kids. I sure as heck will do anything for my kids, except let them be themselves. Now, this is where I'm not. Okay. Katerina says, these days I feel that the most difficult relationship I have ever had is with some parents. And I can relate to that too, because I'm having this issue because I'm on the parent teacher association, the board at my children's school. And the amount of disagreements, the amount of arguing, the amount of passive listening, not active listening, that is being conducted is incredible, absolutely incredible. And so let's focus for a moment on this quote. A lot of parents will do anything for their kids except let them be themselves. So reflect on a moment on your own parents. Have any of your parents wanted you to be something other than a teacher? Did they have a plan? Did they have a schedule of how you should, you know, go through life to be something else? Can you share that experience if you had one in the question box? For example, my father had a restaurant, a diner in Manhattan in New York. And he asked me on 3 occasions, are you going to take over the business? Do you want the restaurant? It's yours if you want it. And I said, no, I want to be a teacher. A teacher? But there's no money in it. I said, yes, I know, but it's my passion. It's something that I want to do. So have you ever had that experience with your parents? Because let me tell you, many of your students' parents are doing this to them. They're saying, I'm a doctor, your mother's a doctor, you have to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to be this. You should be this. There is money in this. But yet the child has dreams and aspirations for something else in life, but their parents are not listening. So we must think of a way to connect. It seems that parents do play a significant role in their child's education, but sadly, especially now with online, as some of you have mentioned, they're not making it easy for us at all, right? Someone writes, the parents come with a list of characteristics that their children should have, and they expect you to find a way to tick off the things in that list, right? If it was that easy, the generations of past and present and the world itself would be very different, right? But how many of you are having issues with parents? How many of you are having experiences with parents online now, more so than face to face? Are they making it easier for you to teach, or are they making it a little bit more difficult? I'm asking this to you. You may at any time um, comment, question, suggest whatever you want in the question box. Okay. Some teachers are disappointed with parents, as some of you say now. Parents tell lies, right, to justify their children, to excuse their children. And we're going to see that later on about excuses and parents. So, as I mentioned before, a lot of emotion is being transferred through the people in the house, through the online learning. And as it says here, children learn more from what you are than what you teach. So we're trying to teach a language, we're trying to teach a subject. And at the same time, children are being taught skills, behaviors. They're trying to be, they are being taught many different things in the house during quarantine, but yet it's the actions that the students are learning from rather than what is being said, right? Somebody just wrote a very powerful comment. Parents don't even know how their kids really are. Some of us know our children better than the parents, and this is very true. All right. But there's no better time, my dear friends, my fellow colleagues, to make this connection to parents. And I'm not saying that we are going to connect with all of the parents. What I'm saying is to make the step forwards into creating a stronger interaction and relationship with parents, to bring them closer to this triangular relationship. And if in fact this works with some, we have done our job. Okay, we have taken that step forward. But in analyzing what an emotion is, right? Because right now it's like an emotional roller coaster each day of our lives with what's going on. An emotion is a feeling which can be caused, very important, by a situation or circumstance, coronavirus, quarantine, social distancing that we are in all together, or the people you are with, the people you are with. So our students are spending so much time in their immediate environment, and the influence of emotion because their parents are working from home. Can you relate? I think so. Some of the parents are not getting paid. Some of the parents have lost their jobs. Some of the parents have gotten a pay cut. But yet, life goes on. Bills keep coming. Rent has to be paid, right? The electricity is due. The supermarket is open. We must provide for our families. But all of this emotion that the parents have need to have an outlet. And where does that outlet go? Either directly, indirectly to our students. So our students are having a tough time with online learning because you miss them. I'm sure you miss them a lot. And I'm sure that they miss you tenfold. And they miss their friends tenfold. So there is a lot going on. That's why we need to take a step back during this webinar and reflect and to think from a bird's eye perspective, what can we do to make things a little bit better for our students? Because feelings are sparked by emotions and shaped by personal experiences every day, these personal experiences that they are having with their parents and with us, with the beliefs of what is going on, the memories of pre-quarantine and thoughts that are going on in their heads linked to these specific emotions that are being felt every single day. So let's take a a look at the first day of school, shall we? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject a little bit of my own, let's say, interpretation of this based on today. All right. So sit back and let's see what this says. First day of school. The first day of school can be hard for mom and dad, as it is hard right now for parents around the world, for we are all thrown in this different lifestyle. Part of you feels excited as a parent, but the other feels sad. Unfortunately, now, though, parents are not as sad, but they are angry and mad of this uncertainty that is going on in their lives. For many years, you've held your child's hand and have been their loving guide. Unfortunately, you are still doing that as your students, as your children are getting older. Let go of their hand and let them live. Now you know the time has come to leave your child by our side. But they are not allowing that to be done through online learning, as you hear the voices in the background and the children not focusing on you. But it is only for a while, just a little while, as your child will learn and grow. And this is the point of education, dear parents, to learn, grow, and perform, not a piece of paper and a grade and finishing a book. And at the end of every day, they will share with you all they know. But please, dear parents, take the time out of your busy day and listen to your parents and their experiences that they have with us. So as you walk away, dear parents, don't worry anymore. We, teachers, will take care of those precious gifts when you leave them at our door, or for now, at our Zoom. So this is something that I think resonates with many of us. Many of you with me right now are probably parents. And you know of, if you are not a parent, you know what's going on because of your interaction with all of your students' parents. That this is not an easy time, but yet in times like this, we must come together and to work together for the betterment of our children. For children are born learners. They are curious about the world around them, and now their curiousness has been silenced a little bit because they cannot go back to school. And so they are stuck in a world that should be temporary for now. We must nurture them to be global thinkers, for that is why I call them future global agents of change. Now, these future global agents of change, you know, as it is time for them to be nurtured, something is going on. There is this big but that is going on in education. And here is where it gets interesting. And tell me if you have experienced this, that we are playing sometimes the blame game. And this is not a game that I shared in Jollification with the webinar. This is a game that has been done and played for years and years and years, but now it's being played even more. And so this blame game turns and says to us that we are bad teachers. So my question to you, my dear friends, are there bad teachers? Are there really bad teachers? Well, the reason why I put this slide on is because I have been called a bad teacher a few times in my career. In 25 years of education, I can be honest with you and say that I have been called this, right? And one of the reasons why I have been called a bad teacher is because some of my students did not get good grades. Why didn't you call on my son or daughter more during class? Why aren't you dedicating a little bit more time to help my son or daughter with some of the subjects that they are learning? Why aren't you, Greg, being a better teacher for my child? So, am I to blame? Maybe, of course, because I'm only human. When I have 30, 40, 50 students in a 40-minute period, how can I connect with all of them? So, to jump down my throat and to say that I'm doing a bad job as a teacher, you're only seeing one part of the puzzle, right? And so, yes, okay, we can say that there are bad teachers. Someone writes, the teachers and the children never win this game, but this game is between parents and teachers. You see, the child who blames us is blaming us because there is a taller person behind them, a shadow behind them that is also pointing the finger at us. The bad teacher, someone else writes, is the one who demands more from the students. Love it. Yes, because we want to challenge our students a little bit more. We want to raise the bar a little bit higher. We want to have the students work out of their comfort zone. We are not babying students, so therefore we are bad teachers. You see, this is where we must bring these parents closer to us and to have them understand. All right. Now the question is, are there bad parents? Now when the finger gets pointed back, the parent says, who, me? How dare you say this of me? For I know exactly what is going on with my child. Don't tell me how to raise my child. I know better than you. We are not saying that, right? We are saying that when we give a routine, as you will see later on, for or an agenda for your student or your child, I'm sorry, your child to study after school, to learn on their own, to be autonomous on their own, and yet you do not follow up on that. You do not provide to see if they in fact are keeping up with what we do that is so very hard, then yes, dare I call you a bad parent? Do bad teachers negatively impact the educational outcomes of their students? Sure, they do. But guess what? Do bad parents? You see, this is where it comes in. We have a relationship, parents and teachers. So enough of this. Enough of this. Reach out your hand because it will start from us and take their hand and work together rather than apart. I'm not saying you are not doing that. I am saying that parents are not being aware enough to do this. So, students decide if you are good or not. Wives say if you are a good father or not. Interesting. Someone says, yes, quote unquote, bad parents are the ones who just ignore their kids, pamper them, and do not realize what they are doing. Exactly. All right. So, what can I do? What can I do as a teacher? What can I tell parents to do to help their students? Well, we're not going to point the finger and say, I am telling you what to do for your son or daughter. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is to bring them closer to you with a smile, right? With a smile and an easy tone, and to say, dear so and so, I would like to take 5 to 10 minutes of your very busy schedule to have a conversation with you about your child, about this wonderful, amazing student that is in my class, that is your son or daughter, because I think that because of everything that is going on, I can relate to what's happening. And I just like to take this time to talk about it. And so you make that approach, you make that first step. And you can do this in many groups with parents. You don't have to do it one-on-one because heaven knows we have all the time in the world to do this one-on-one, right? So make a plan, and start reaching out to parents in little groups based on the needs of their students, of their children, and based on if their parents have similarities. Okay, so many people qualify us good parents or not, especially the teachers. Uh, yes, if I understand correctly, um, parents, right, because we have this title as a parent, we're considered untouchable, that we are the best, right? But not so much for teachers. Is that what you're saying? Right? You see, the ego needs to be put out of this relationship. Okay, yes. The ego needs to be put out of this relationship, and we must be humble towards one another, which is why if we make the first approach, we do it humbly towards um, towards parents. So what can we do? Number one, do you have a routine? Is there a routine? There is? Good. Stick with it. Work on it. Improve it. If there isn't, start one immediately, which is why all of these webinars are linked. Routines and habits. Do you remember? Time and productivity. All of these things play an important role in strengthening this triangular relationship in education. All right. So, is there a routine? Yes. Okay. The routine that happens after school, what is it? Is there a shh time for your child every day for homework? To involve children in setting up the rules and guidelines, the environment for studying. Because, guys, let's face it, face to face in class learning, students are retaining information easier. They are processing information easier. Now with online, it is not as much. You can disagree with me by all means, but I have seen, generally speaking, that students need more time after online to review, right, process, right, internalize the information that is given to them. For this to be done, there needs help by the parents to set up this time. What do we need before we start? Preparation, preparation, preparation. Now, do you think my son is in second grade? My daughter is in seventh. My son is somewhat autonomous, but with online, he is less. And so I need to guide him. I need to help him out a little bit, to just be there for him so that I say, do you have these books ready? No, no, don't keep them in your book bag. Have them out, right? First lesson, second lesson, third lesson. Are your pencils sharpened? Do you have your eraser? Have a checklist, right? Have a checklist. Be prepared, right? No talking or fooling around during quiet time. Parents, parents, we're not talking about the children all the time, right? How many times are students learning in our online classes and you can hear a TV in the other room? You can hear them baking, cooking, speaking on the phone. The distractions need to be limited and if possible, not to exist. Make sure we finish everything, everything. And I don't mean that if there's 3 hours of online learning, that in 20 minutes we're going to finish our homework. Come on, guys. 3 hours of online learning and we finish our homework in 20 minutes? That's impossible. All right. There needs to be success, right? But a success done in a manner where the parent is able to check and see that everything has been completed. Now, I'm not saying for the parents, to go and correct their mistakes and to make sure that it's perfect. So he doesn't hear me. When he does his English class and he has mistakes, he always says to me, because he wants to get it perfect, is this right? And I say, oh, I don't know. I'm too busy. You know English very well. It's okay. The next day, he makes a mistake. He comes to me and says, you see, I made a mistake. Why didn't you tell me? I was too busy, but that's okay. Did you learn from your mistake? Yes, I know it now. Okay, good. Right? Making mistakes. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So is it optional? This time, this study time, is it optional? Absolutely not. It must be made it must be mandatory for all of our students. Okay. And this is something that we need to work together with our students. You start to implement this with your student and then bring in the parents to assist, which is why our students should have an agenda, a daily and weekly agenda for face-to-face, but definitely for online learning, because there's too much time being wasted. The routines have been out of control. Do you agree or disagree? What do you think? That our students in their day-to-day with quarantine and lockdown, that they are not having a good command of their time management and of their routines. Oh, okay. They have no routine. Okay. Well, then there you go. That just sums it all up. Let's start with the routine, right? Okay. Definitely now an agenda is like the key to remember all the things we have to do. Yes. Online school is a sort of, oh, man, yeah. Ooh, online school is a sort of TV watching. Oh, I never thought of it like that. Interesting. So TV watching. So how would I have connect with that comment? Okay. Like I said before, it was difficult for me to do webinars at first when I was practicing. But then I said, you know what? It's like me being a performer. If the kids want to watch me, if you guys, I'm not saying that you're the kids, if you guys want to watch, excuse me, I'm trying to connect with what you said. If the audience wants to see me, I have to be kind of, like a TV performer, I guess. And I guess the same goes for teachers, right? So make it mandatory. Routines and agendas, mandatory. Check, good, excellent. Now, being their number one fan, being their number one fan, I am sure that each and every one of you are your student's number one fan. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee that your passion in teaching puts you over the top, even compared to their parents when it comes to the betterment of their education. Now, this being said, though, that's not enough because as you see, you're not with them. So that means their parents have to be their number one fan too. But at times, children do poorly in school. This is true. This has happened because they see themselves as not good enough. Is this a fact? Have you had this experience that students don't see themselves as good enough? Think about it. I see so many people with us right now, and I know it's in the middle of the afternoon, it's siesta time. It's that time of the day where we say, I've worked so hard already. I just want to sit back and listen to you speak. I don't want to type in the question box. Can I do this, please? No. Come on. Write in the question box, right? Children do poorly in school because they see themselves as not good enough, right? Well, then, good morning to my dear friends in Peru. Okay. Um, is this a fact? It certainly is. It certainly is a fact, guys, right? For a child to feel good about learning must first feel good about himself. Ah. Encourage children by praising their efforts, parents. Express interest in their schoolwork, parents, right? If you tell them, what is this? You got a bad grade? What is this? Come on. This is this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. What are you doing to the child? You're not making them feel any better. You're actually making them feel worse. So if they don't feel good about the learning, he's not going to feel good about himself or herself. So we must teach parents how to look at things. We must communicate with them that, yes, okay, out of 100, your child got a 70, got a 60. Could have been worse, could have been a 50. And you make a little joke, right? And then you say, because I am sure that they want to do better. Let's ask. And the child will say, of course I want to do better. Then show us, because we know you can. And so that child has support, and that child will say, yes, I will do better, right? Someone writes, students believe they are the marks they get. If you support them, they will do their best. Someone writes, I remember a student telling me that she got an A just because she no longer thought that she no longer believes that she is the marks that she gets. Yes, once you break down the stigma and all of this cloudy uncertainty of what is going on and what is learning English about, they will show you a totally different side. And so we come to excuses. As many of you have written at the beginning of this presentation, you wrote about excuses. Avoid giving your child a reason for making excuses. Stop it, right? Yes, okay, we as parents, and I as a parent, we want to protect our children. We all do. It's a natural instinct. But we are not aware sometimes of the words that we say and the actions that we show towards our students, towards our parent. Come on, Greg, towards our children, right? That influences how they feel towards us sometimes. So fill in the blank of these two. It's okay. Your strength isn't. This is a parent speaking to his or her child, or to her child. And it's not your fault. What would be some of the things that parents say in these two sentences? It's okay. Your strength isn't, or it's not your fault. What do you think that a parent would say here? I'm sure they've said it to you. What do you think, guys? Let's fill in the blank. It's okay. Your strength isn't what? Your strength isn't English. Of course. Your strength isn't English, right? It's not your fault. It's whose fault? The teacher's fault, right? So the responsibility, the accountability gets thrown on us only. It's okay. Your strength isn't grammar. It's okay. Your strength isn't reading. Don't worry about it. I was the same when I was a child. Really? So what does that mean? That because this was your, let's say, weakness or limitation, it has to be the same for your child? Come on now, please, right? Your child may think that you think she isn't able to handle the task. And if children think like this because of their parents, imagine what they're doing in your class. Think about it. Success in a future job, right, is going to require your students, their children, to do the best that they can to always better their best. You will not help your child, parents, encouraging them to make excuses whenever it's convenient. So, the English language. There are three questions I ask students, and I've said this to you before, and I ask the same questions to parents. The first is why. We ask the child, why are you learning English? They say, because my parents want me to, because it's part of the curriculum. Some of the students will say, because I want it for my job, I want it for my life, I want it for communication, etc. Ask the parent this. Ask the parent these questions. Why is your child learning English? Right? Then you ask this question. What do you want to be when you grow up, to the child? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? Then you ask the parent, what do you want your child to be when he or she grows up? Do you think that that answer is going to be the same? Maybe, maybe not. But the third question is the best. How is English going to help you, your child, in becoming what they want to be when they grow up? And this is where everything changes. This is where the paper changes with the grade. This is where the diploma changes. This is where the mindset of English changes, because you are bringing them all together, right? And the parent realizes that, you know what? It should be about their enjoyment of learning the language. Is there a question? Is there a reverb when I speak? When I'm speaking, can you hear me clearly, or is there a reverb, like an echo? Could you just give me a little? There isn't an echo. You can't hear an echo. Oh, this is crazy. There isn't. All okay. Oh, great. All right. So it's just in my earphones. Okay, I can handle it. Let's go. So let the fireworks begin then. Okay, let the fireworks. Sounds fine. Excellent. Thank you. I don't know who's with me today. I have a colleague with me. Just send me a little note so I know who you are. My special colleague. Picky Blind. Okay. Good to have you with me, man. Okay. Let the fireworks begin. So enthusiasm is contagious. Okay. It is contagious. And just like laughter is contagious, we have to be enthusiastic towards our students, towards our children. Don't give the message that homework, school, English is a boring chore. Children who do well enjoy learning. It's very, very simple. If your child does not seem motivated to do well in school, try to find ways to motivate them, to bring them closer to education. And how do we do this, guys? Well, learning by doing. And in quarantine, what better way than learning by doing? Because we're with each other all the time. As John Dewey, the American philosopher, said, and as education has developed through multisensory perception, it's the hands on approach to learning, to interact with their environment, to adapt and learn. So we have to take what they're learning, the schoolwork skills, right, and put it into day to day life. Now, how do we do this? Right? When making a meal, now you can argue with me and say, well, Greg, wait a minute, time out. Un momento, por favor, because parents don't understand English. So, how can the students review and enhance their English skills if their parents don't speak or understand English? That's not a problem. Children who help to make a meal, tell time, reading, multi step problem solving can do this in English towards their parents. Yes, they can. Don't tell me they can't. There is no I can't. Maybe they don't want to. That's a different story, but they can. And so if we explain to parents that, you know what, have your kids be like little mini teachers. Like my son was an assistant this morning, and these little teachers are going to practice their English on you. But I don't understand what they're saying. So if they make a mistake, I can't correct them. That's okay. Let them just practice. Okay. So making meals, telling time, reading, multi step problem solving, baking. Okay. Show your child what is under the hood of a car when you work on the car. Now, this may be a little bit difficult to do, but let me put it in a different context. I have a car washer, right? A power washer. It's that gun that you plug into a machine and the machine into the hose, and it comes out very, very strong and it can cut skin, right? If you're not careful. My son has seen this year after year, and he's been wanting to use this forever. My car was absolutely filthy, and I said, you know what? Let's go downstairs and wash the car. No, I don't want to. I want to stay here. I want to do whatever the heck he was doing. I said, that's okay. All right. I'm going to go wash the car with the power washer. What? What do you mean? I could come with the power washer? Of course. Pew! He got his shoes on. He ran downstairs to the garage like Superman. And so I explained to him the procedure, the preparation. This goes here, this goes there, this goes there. We have to be careful. We have to do this, we have to do that. And he was very, very responsible. And we cleaned the entire car. He had an amazing time, right? And he learned how to wash a car. Greg, washing a car is easy. Actually, it's not. There's a whole process of putting the soap on, letting it stick, putting a little bit of water, using the brush, then using the power washer, starting from the top down, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So Ask for help when going grocery shopping. Or if the kids can't go out of their house, if you have to go grocery shopping and you bring everything back, they take everything out, they see what you got, they put it in its place, they see the receipt, you give them the change, you ask them if it's correct, have them jot down notes, reminders, shopping lists. Come on, guys, you figure it out. There's so many ideas, right? And finally, managing negative emotions. As we said at the beginning, it's all about emotions. So now, my dear friends, stretch out your fingers, put on your thinking caps, because now we're going to do a couple of activities together. We're going to tune in to emotions. We're going to look and reflect on what is it that is triggering the behaviors in class because of parents and students. In doing so, I'm going to connect a little bit with some slides that I had shown you previously on social emotional with different visual prompts. Listen carefully when children talk about having difficulty with their homework, schoolwork, etc. Encourage them to break down problems into very small, manageable steps. So, happiness. Yes. How many of you have experienced happiness throughout quarantine? If you have, what is it that made you happy? What is it that made you happy during quarantine? Because, yes, we discussed the emotional thermometer. We say that there have been so many negative emotions, but yet I'm sure there were times of happiness, right? Let's reflect on the happiness because happiness is our fill in the blank core emotion. What would you put in this first missing? Wait a minute. I can't find the question box. Hold on a moment. There we are. Okay. So, happiness, yes, are what? Our core emotion. What would you put to fill in this blank? There are over 70 people with us, and the question box is frozen because you're thinking, what can be in that one little line? It doesn't have to be a right answer. There could be synonyms that you put in. Stretch out those fingers, put it inside, go to the question box, and let's see what you said. Okay. So, happiness is our most important core emotion. Okay. Happiness is our first core emotion. Happiness is our essential core emotion. Happiness is our life core emotion. What else? Come on, let's go. Put on your thinking caps. We've got quite a few. All right, let's get this. Let's get the warm up out of the way. Okay. Happiness is our first core emotion, but all of your answers are spot on so far. Okay, as synonyms. All right. A sense of safety and security that our give us. Happiness is a sense of safety and security that our give us. So, what goes here in the next one? A sense of safety and security that family gives us. Okay, what else? That dear ones give us. Who else? Come on, think about it, guys. Loved ones give us. Happiness is a sense of safety and security that what are we talking about today? That our parents, that our students give us, that our parents give us, that our teachers give us. Very good. So we're thinking outside the box about happiness, right? It doesn't just have to be us as teachers. It could be the parents, the family, friends, society, Luis. Yes, right? all of these things. So just think about how happiness can maybe even be contagious instead of coronavirus. Food for thought. Happiness sprouts from the knowledge that we are and taken care of. Happiness sprouts from the knowledge that we are and taken care of. Yes, Yasmina, that we are loved and taken care of. Very, very good. So for 2020, this is something that we're going to look forward towards 2021. And that is what? That is to spread happiness with our students, to have the parents jump on board with this, because enough of some other emotions that we're going to talk about that are overpowering our happiness. Okay. Happiness in teaching English. Oh, happiness is teaching English. Love it. Okay. Now, this is a very strong, very controversial quote by Spike Lee, the producer, right? The performer, the director. Parents kill more dreams than anybody. And when I show this to parents, they sometimes look at me with this evil eye and I say, well, wait a minute. Let's think about this for a moment. All right. Because our students don't just have dreams of their future. Kids have dreams every night, every week, every month, every year, right? It's not just a dream of doing something and being something in life. It's about completing something, trying something out, right? Taking a risk. And so sadness comes in, right? And sadness comes in because there's an experience, right, that we have, the loss of something in our lives, right? Experiencing the loss of something important, very good, important in our lives. Right? Oh, what happened? It didn't come out. Eh, it came out this morning. What's going on here? Wait a minute. This is funny. It's going backwards. What? What is going on? Okay. Anyway, wait a minute. Okay. This is so weird. This morning it went well. Okay. Here we go. I gave you all the answers, but that's okay. Um, what did we write? Valuable, valuable, precious, um, sadness, right? Experience the loss of something important. Feeling sad allows us to take a step back, right? To reflect on ourselves, our situations, and to understand what's going on. It teaches us to be more introspective, resilient, and to learn from our mistakes. Now, why are students sad when they get a bad grade? Why are they sad? Are they sad when they get bad grades? Maybe, but why? Maybe because they're kicking themselves in the butt. They should have studied more. Maybe because they're sad because they got yelled at by their parents. I don't know. Food for thought. But then we get to anger. And look at this. Again, I use this as the base experience of tests. Our anger begs us for release. So we let it out by stomping our feet and at those around us. What's the missing word? Shouting, screaming, yes, yelling, right? Chaotic, yes, at those around us. We feel frustrated, so we lash out to make ourselves feel less what? Make ourselves feel less helpless against our situation. So what's happening here? Kids are coming back with a bad mark. Their parents are having a bad day. They see the bad mark. Boom. They're angry at their children because they did poorly, right? And that's because they feel helpless about what's going on in their situation because they have no control over it. But anger is meant to do a lot more than just this. It forces us to act and to fight against the situation or the problem that we're facing. I'm just throwing this out right now. giving some of the answers because I see that time is flying by. And so here I want to spend a moment because this is one of my most favorite quotes of all time when it deals with fear. I am not afraid of storms, for I am learning to sail my ship. Think about that as I recommend everybody and students, even in their bedrooms, to have a little area where we have motivational quotes, which they change every now and then. In our classrooms, to have part of our wall of motivation and inspiration. Um, I am not afraid of storms, for I am learning to sail my ship. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with fear, as this is something that is controlling everybody at this moment, it is a basic, what kind of mechanism to keep us safe from potential danger? It is a basic survival mechanism. Sometimes we feel fear towards things that we are not supposed to fear, but yet we do because we are programmed to do this, which is why we must work together with parents to have our future global agents of change not fear failure, not to fear uncertainty, not to fear emotional vulnerability, and not to fear loss of control. Because, my friends, I have made this mistake, and believe me when I tell you, it is the worst thing to do with children. Instead, flip it, because fear keeps us from taking risks, from challenging ourselves, from going after what we want. So, parents, don't be fearful towards your students and what they can do towards your children. Don't fear what's going to happen to them. Let them live, let them grow, let them break out of their shells because that is what they are supposed to do. That is what children are supposed to do. They're supposed to fall down, scrape their legs, get back up, brush it off, and keep going. Because remember, babies never, we never fell, you know, fall down 50 times, 60 times and say, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. We don't think like that. We get up, we keep trying. We fall down, we get up. We learn to walk, we learn to run, we learn to conquer our fears, right? It shouldn't change. And then we get to loneliness. Yes, loneliness. This is one that parents need to look out for because it is the problem with what's going on with loneliness is it is a feeling of solitude, a feeling of isolation, disconnection from those around us. This is not connection. Students do not need this as much as they need each other, as we are social by nature. One of the most basic human needs from Maslow's basic needs: shelter, food, water, security, and belonging. The need to belong. And so students are missing this. We have a deep-seated need for social interaction. Loneliness is meant to signal to us that we need to attend to relationships. So when my daughter is in her room day in and day out and every night, because this is what she wants to do, and I go crazy with my wife because I say, no, I don't care if she's 12 and a preteen. I'm not going to let her do this all the time. It's not healthy. She needs to interact physically, right? Which is why she has her play dates, and which is why she has her study groups now, right? Even if we're in lockdown, we have created with some friends mini Zoom groups where they help each other, where students have uh, strengths and weaknesses, and they build on each other's strength and weakness, right? But that was because of the parents getting together and being more involved, right? But teachers can help with that, right? Teachers can help with that. And finally, is the mood right? Is the mood right? As your mood has to be right in your online lesson, with everything around you, with your, whatever things you're going to use to teach at that moment, to have it ready so you don't leave and come back, right? Is the mood right in the house? Is the home a place where it is easy for your child to learn? You can see this when you teach. You can see their backgrounds, what's going on in their immediate environment. Is it a place where they can learn? Be near enough to answer questions that your child has. Be sure to discuss with them where and how homework gets done. And we should do the same. Triangular relationship, guys. This is how it works. The example you set will make more of an impression than our words. So don't just say things. Parents should not just say things. They should show it through example of what needs to be done. Make the mood right. So remember, we all need to nurture our future global agents of change. And in closing, no school, no institute can work well for children if the parents and the teachers do not act in a close partnership on behalf of the children's best interests. So this was a very different type of webinar. It's something that leaves us with a lot of food for thought. I want to thank you very much for um, your time, your patience, your professionalism. Um, I wish you all the best with everything else that you're doing. Keep learning, keep sharing, keep inspiring your future global agents of change. And I look forward to seeing you again this week, where my colleagues Nadia and Christopher, we have an conversations on Wednesday. And tomorrow I have my science webinar. All right. Always teach with a smile. Always just pump positivity and praise to your students, and keep doing an amazing job as you are. Okay, guys. So it was a pleasure having you all with us again. Take care. All right. And I'll see you later.